the gathering storm, setting the stage for a heated debate. It was a Tuesday afternoon, and the air in Mrs. Thompson's English class crackled with nervous energy. The students had been preparing for this moment for weeks, researching, writing, and rehearsing their arguments. The anticipation was almost tangible, as if the very walls of the classroom were holding their breath. 6 students, each known for their sharp wit and even sharper opinions, sat facing the class. They were the best debaters in the school, handpicked for their ability to argue passionately and persuasively. Their classmates watched with a mix of admiration and trepidation, knowing that today's debate would be one for the books. The topic of today's debate is depression an overrated word? It was a subject that struck a chord with many, touching on personal experiences and societal issues. The room was divided, with some students nodding in agreement and others shaking their heads in dissent. On one side sat Emily, a bright-eyed athlete, known for her sunny disposition. She was the captain of the soccer team, always seen with a smile on her face. But today, her expression was serious, her eyes focused and determined. She had spent hours researching the topic, and she was ready to make her case. Next to her was Jake, the class clown, always ready with a sarcastic quip. But today there was no trace of humor in his demeanor. He had a personal stake in the debate, having seen friends struggle with depression. His usual carefree attitude was replaced with a steely resolve. Completing their team was Maria, a quiet observer, her thoughtful gaze hinting at a hidden depth. She rarely spoke in class, but when she did, her words carried weight. She had a unique perspective on the topic, having read extensively about mental health issues. Her teammates relied on her for her insightful contributions. Across from them sat David, a brooding artist, his eyes reflecting a depth of emotion. He was known for his intense paintings, which often depicted themes of sadness and despair. He had a personal connection to the topic, having struggled with depression himself. His voice was soft but powerful, carrying the weight of his experiences. Beside him sat Chloe, a passionate advocate for social justice, her voice often ringing out against inequality. She had organized numerous protests and campaigns, fighting for the rights of marginalized groups. She believed that the word depression was often misused, diluting the experiences of those who truly suffered from the condition. Her arguments were fiery and impassioned. Rounding out their team was Ben, a bookish introvert, his quiet demeanor masking a sharp intellect. He was the top student in the class, always seen with his nose in a book. He had a deep understanding of the topic, having read numerous studies and articles. His arguments were logical and well-reasoned, providing a strong foundation for his team. The tension in the room was palpable. The students knew that this debate was more than just an academic exercise. It was a chance to voice their opinions, to share their experiences, and to challenge each other's perspectives. The stakes were high, and everyone was on edge. This wasn't just a debate about words. It was a debate about experiences, about perceptions, about the very essence of mental health. The students were not just arguing for the sake of argument. They were fighting for what they believed in. The debate would force them to confront their own biases and assumptions, to listen to each other with empathy and understanding. It was a test of their ability to think critically and to communicate effectively. And as the debate began, the air crackled with anticipation, the students ready to engage in a battle of words and ideas.
Let's be honest. Everyone feels sad sometimes. It's normal, but calling it depression, that's a bit much, don't you think?
Yeah, it's like calling a stubbed toe a broken leg. People need to toughen up a bit more.
It seems like everyone's depressed these days. It's almost trendy. Maybe we've lost sight of what real depression actually is.
How dare you trivialize something so serious? Depression isn't just sadness. It's not something that can be brushed off or ignored. When you downplay depression, you are invalidating the experiences of millions of people who struggle with this condition every day. It's a profound and often overwhelming sense of despair that can affect every aspect of a person's life. It's a debilitating illness that can destroy lives. Depression can lead to a loss of interest in activities once enjoyed, difficulty concentrating, and even physical symptoms like fatigue and aches. It can make it hard to get out of bed in the morning, to go to work or school, and to maintain relationships. The impact of depression is far-reaching and can be devastating.
You can't just toughen up mental illness any more than you can toughen up a broken leg. Mental health issues require proper treatment and understanding. Just as you wouldn't tell someone with a broken leg to walk it off, you shouldn't tell someone with depression to simply cheer up or get over it. Empathy and support are crucial in helping those who suffer from mental health conditions.
Reducing depression to a trend or a character flaw is not only insensitive, but also dangerous. It perpetuates harmful stereotypes and prevents people from seeking the help they need. When we dismiss depression as a mere phase or a sign of weakness, we contribute to the stigma that surrounds mental health. This stigma can be a significant barrier to treatment, as people may feel ashamed or embarrassed to reach out for support. It prevents people from seeking the help they desperately need. Encouraging open conversations about mental health and providing resources for those in need can make a world of difference. By fostering an environment of understanding and compassion, we can help break down the barriers that prevent people from getting the care they deserve. Let's work together to create a society where mental health is taken seriously and everyone feels supported.
A hush fell over the room as David, his voice shaking slightly, began to share his story. The classroom, usually filled with chatter and laughter, was now silent, every eye focused on David. He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself, and began to speak. He spoke of his own struggles with depression, the crushing weight of hopelessness, the inability to find joy in anything. David's words painted a vivid picture of his internal battle, a battle that many in the room had never truly understood. He described waking up each day with a sense of dread, the simple act of getting out of bed feeling like an insurmountable task. He described the feeling of being trapped in a dark tunnel with no end in sight. The darkness was suffocating, and every step forward felt like a struggle against an invisible force. David's voice wavered as he spoke of the nights spent lying awake, his mind racing with thoughts he couldn't control. He felt isolated, even in a room full of people, and the weight of his emotions was a constant burden.
Chloe shared her experience of witnessing her mother's battle with postpartum depression, the overwhelming sadness that had enveloped her, the challenges of seeking help and overcoming stigma. She spoke of the days when her mother couldn't get out of bed, the tears that seemed to come from nowhere, and the sense of helplessness that filled their home. Chloe's voice was steady, but her eyes betrayed the pain of those memories. She talked about the difficulty of finding support, the fear of judgment from others, and the long road to recovery.
Their stories, raw and honest, cast a new light on the debate. The classroom, once divided by differing opinions, now found common ground in the shared experiences of David and Chloe. The power of their words broke down barriers, fostering a sense of unity and understanding among the students. The other students listened with rapt attention, their faces etched with a mix of empathy and newfound understanding. The atmosphere in the room had shifted. It was no longer just a debate, but a collective journey towards empathy and awareness. The stories shared had a profound impact, opening the eyes of many to the realities of mental health struggles. The students realized that behind every face was a story, and that understanding and compassion were key to bridging the divide.